So Maxi, one of the reasons we came here, Rossington Football Club, a place close to your heart. Your granddad came here, played here, got a stand now named after him. How close were you to your granddad, Maxi?
Yeah, very close. You know, obviously took his name and hoped to do his name proud, and because he were a real character in village. Everyone knows my granddad is just one of those characters. You know, down from days of when there were mining strikes and police lined them all up. He used to do, you know, Norman Wisdom impressions, and it was just that larger than life character. So, you know, everybody loved him. You know, as much as he complained when there were bad performance here, he were always down here. You know, and he brought me when I was a kid. I remember one time I was crying. There were a night game, and my granddad helped with, you know, sort of locking up. I think we were over the other side of pitch and all floodlights went down. It was pitch black and I couldn't see my granddad. I was crying, Grandad, where are you? I'm on my own. But yeah, you know, very, very proud to carry my granddad's name, and you know, I hope to continue doing it proud.
Did you not play at all? You mentioned you played rugby league. Did you not get involved?
I played for Rosso Juniors. You know, I never got to play in ground, but on field over there. I played for Rosso Juniors. Well, yeah, I played for a couple of seasons, but no, just I don't know what happened. Sort of fell out of love with it. You know, I follow football a bit, you know, as international level, but not to the level my granddad were at. You know, my granddad was also a massive Leeds fan.
Well, apart from that, yeah.
But he always used to wear, as you can see, badge on there. I now, every time I wear a suit, you know, all my suits have the badge, and my granddad pretty much had the Rosso Main badge on every jacket, every fleece, always on his suit. So, you know, there were times when he'd come back, see, you been down Main like Grandad? He went, yeah, I don't know why I bother going down there. There was shit tonight. But no matter how disappointed he were always here.
Very sort of proud man, proud of where he come from. What influence did he have over your boxing? Did he come to your fights? I think you mentioned before he used to always be at your fights. What was he like that side of the fence? Yeah,
he were there all the time as an amateur. I remember I had a couple of fights and he was like, he says, I'll tell you what, I'll sponsor you. I'll give you £20 for a win, 10 quid for a draw, but there were never any draws amateur. I went on a rate good run.
You were getting mad, knocking everyone out.
I think he got sick of shelling out 20 quid because as an amateur, you know, he fight pretty regular as well. So you know, that stopped. But he were always there, always shouting. You know, I've got a lot of the my mum on handheld camcorder. Pretty much nearly every one of my amateur fights. She's got them all, and you know, all the time you hear my granddad's voice. And then there was one particular video. There was we boxed down Midlands, and there was a guy in a green jacket, Trinity ABC, on, you know, like a team tracksuit. He's like stood in front of where my granddad sat, and all you can hear on camera is Trinity, get down, Trinity move. Yeah. He were always there. And always life and soul, you know, he'd get there, he'd get on pints and, you know, be his usual character. So, you know, I could always hear him shouting anyway.
In your career now, do you sort of carry his memory with you? Do you sort of think when you're going out there, you know what, I want to do him proud? Obviously, it's a selfish sport, it's for you ultimately and your family, but is he in the back of your mind when you're going in the ring? Yeah, a lot, and what I suppose, it's just a bit gutting, like, he always supported me and I'd have done all right, but since this current run of form where, you know, I'm beating these good names and winning these belts, you know, 2020 was the start, just after lockdown when I got that win against John O'Carroll. It was early 2020, January, the year, you know, when he died. So, you know, it's a bit gutting that he's not been able to see, you know, me win all these big fights and, you know, get the contract with Matchroom and, you know, be boxing on telly and on the big stage all the time. So, you know, it's a shame that, you know, he passed away when he did. But, you know, it's life, isn't it? It is life, but they've honoured his memory here pretty good. I mean, his name's on top of the stand, picture here, and I looked at a picture, I think it must have been on the website when you did the opening for the stand. You've got a huge family. Oh, yeah. They all came out and turned up for him. It must just say what it sort of means to him and your family name.
Yeah, you know, everyone, and as well, everybody loved him in village. which is, you know, why he got this. You know, you just ask anyone around in the village, you know, what do you think of Maxi? And they're, oh, he's great bloke, so funny. And you know, we do come from a big family. My granddad had 5 daughters, so you know, there's daughters, there's grandkids, great grandkids. So there's loads, like, you know, and we all think of, we all talk about him at family do. So good just to, you know, keep that memory alive, you know, as well as my nana's, who, you know, she died when I was very young, but I'm pretty sure she'd have been just as big a fan and there shouting if, you know, she was around to see it as well. You had a short period living with them, didn't you, growing up? What was that like? Oh, great! I loved it. Yeah. You know, looking back, I wasn't really spoilt in material. I was just spoilt with time, you know. And my youngest auntie, she was only, you know, she was a teenager at times, so she was there. She got to spend a lot of time. But you know, all my aunties, you know, just spoilt with the time, and especially my nana's time, because my mum worked very hard as I was growing up. But yeah, for the first couple of years, while my mum was saving up to buy her own house for me and my mum, that's where we lived, and pretty much every other day I was around there anyway when my mum was working. Do you think your upbringing, sort of the working class upbringing, you mentioned living with your grandparents, do you think that sort of shaped you into who you are today, that's made you that humble man? Because you're world champion, but you know, you could walk into any sort of place, I would have thought, you know, this village, wherever, and there's no, you don't come with hundreds of security, there's no sort of any of that, there's no, you're sort of a man of the people. Yeah, I would say so, you know, I've always got time for people. I think that's just a northern thing, isn't it, really? Yeah, I do. You know, up north we're very polite people, we say morning to people we don't know in the street, and I think especially, you know, being from the village I'm from, you know, it's just humbling. But yeah, you know, I'd say just with how I brought up, you know, I brought up the right way, and you know, respect for people, always down to earth, and just not getting above myself, you know, just because of what I've done well in my career. It won't change who I am. Yeah. I'll always be, you know, down to earth, and that's something, you know, I can say with pride. I say, you know, no amount of success will change that. Does it annoy you when you see it in boxing? Because you see certain fighters get to certain levels. Do you see the change in them and what it does to them? I've done, yeah, and yeah, it is annoying because boxing is a working class sport. You know, you look at probably 99% of boxers were from places like this. You know, council estates, just working class areas. So for people to really change who they are and change their attitude, you know, it don't sit well with me. But you know, luckily 99% of boxers are down to earth, approachable, just genuine people, and it's that kind of humble sport, and you know, that's why I'm happy to be a part of it. Who did you sort of not aspire to be, but who were your heroes who you looked up to growing up? Were there any fighters? Because obviously you mentioned being into rugby. Who were the people you looked up to growing up? I didn't pick out fighters and go, I want to be like him. I'm doing it because of that fight. I just did it because, like, you know, like I mentioned earlier, because our rugby coach took us to a gym. I wanted to do it because of the sport, because of what we're going off in the gym. That's what I wanted. I always knew about, you know, if you asked me about boxers as a kid, you know, I was born in the 90s, grew up in the 90s, so, you know, the biggest boxers, if you was to ask me as that young kid in the 90s, name me a boxer, I would be able to say Mike Tyson and Prince Naz. Because somehow they were the biggest names that, you know, I'd heard about, probably through school. You know, people's dads probably told the kids, and it got talked about at school. That's huge as well, especially Yorkshire as well. Yeah. So you know, they was the fighters I knew, but you know, I never really watched boxing as a kid. I'd seen bits and, you know, little flashes on telly, but never purposely sought out, I'm going to watch that fight. I want to watch some boxing. You know, it wasn't until really started knowing fighters, you know, when either 2001 or 2002 when Fight Night came out with Bernard Hopkins. PlayStation 1 and 2. So once I'd started playing that's when I started to get to know fighters. You know, and obviously as soon as I started boxing, that's when I really started sorting out, looking at fighters, studying it, and all stuff like that. You know, fortunately we'd just been upgraded in our house to broadband. We used to be on dial-up.
Hamster and wheel.
Yeah. So, you know, I were able to start watching YouTube and seeing these boxers and stuff. And my mum, because I were into it, she used to buy me boxing news magazine. So I was looking through, reading it. I've got a collection at home of all the old fighters. It was like a subscription. I think there were 20 all in all. But you know, you subscribe, you get a DVD and a magazine about a certain fighter. Yeah. I've got them at home. So you know, there was stuff like that. That's how I sort of educated myself and got really into boxing, and then it just went from strength to strength to strength, and obviously being around boxing, and you know, that's how it, you know, I really got into it.
Do you watch much of it now? Because obviously where you are here, a lot of boxers say, you know, when they go home, they switch off. Do you watch it? Do you, if there is a fight on, do you put it on, or is it like, you know, I'll leave it at that?
I used to watch loads, but now, you know, I just feel like being in it for so long, it has to be a big fight for me to watch it on telly at home. I still really struggle. I can't get, if there's a big fight overseas, you know, in America, I can't get up. But I won't bother setting an alarm. But if it's a fight that I really want to see, what I'll do is I'll switch my phone off and just catch up on it, you know, as soon as I get up the next day. Yeah. But yeah, so there's always, you know, when you've got a bit of time, you think, I want to watch telly. If I can't really think of what to watch, I'll just go on YouTube, because it's becoming a great channel for highlights, like your documentaries on fighters, like the 24/7s, the All Accesses. I love all that sort of stuff.
Portrait of a fighter, boxing social.
Yeah. That's going to be the next biggy thing, I'm telling you.
Oh, it's going to blow.
So yeah, just like it's sort of, I'm not paying loads of attention, but it's on in background, you know. It's just a way of getting my kids into it. Although my eldest now, she's clocking on, and she's like, she'll come in there, oh, it's boxing on again. But yeah, so that sort of stuff, like old fights, you know, fighters who I really like, or someone says, oh, you should watch that fight from 80s or whenever. Yeah. You know, I'll watch that old fight.
You mentioned your kids there. What happens if they grow up and go, look, I want to do that now? I know you've got two little ones, but what if they come to you and go, look, I want to give it a go? Because a lot of boxers say, look, I'm doing this so you don't have to. Yeah. Is that your mindset, or is it a case of if you've got a genuine passion for it, do it?
Yeah, if they've got a passion, and it's boxing's changed my life for the better, so I'm never going to deny my kids that opportunity. Not just, you know, I'm chasing it now for financial gain, but it's changed my life, you know, like the discipline, and I suppose I could say how it's changed my mindset, how I approach just things in general day-to-day life. So I won't deny my kids that opportunity, and you know, I've got two girls.
It's on the rise as well.
Women's boxing, by the time they're older, you know, you could never know, it could be on par with men's boxing. So, you know, there's a way for them to change their life. So as long as, if they do say they're going to do it, I will say it's not something you can half-art. Yeah. If you're doing it, you've got to be full in. And before I send them to a proper gym, you know, I'll put them through tests at home. You know, they'll have to do at least 3-4 rounds with me, full on.
You take it seriously as well, don't you?
Yeah. To see if they've got what it takes. But you know, I think I would test them early, like take them to a gym, make them spar, because that's what separates people. That's, you know, if it's clear to see if they're going to be a fighter or not. You put them in that fight or flight mode. What are you going to do? Are you going to fight, or are you going to shy away from it? And that's something you can't teach, no matter how, you know, you've got to want to do it, you've got to have that fire in your belly. But, you know, if they want to do it when they're older, I'll encourage it, and I'll help them best I can. But, you know, they can do whatever they want. If they want to do boxing, I know I've heard that myself. Oh, I'm not going to let them fight, but, you know, I will give them the opportunity. Nobody stopped me from doing it. So why should I deny them?